Well, here we are again. It's Friday. Hope you have some good plans this weekend. I do. My wife and I are going to Portland and we're going to see a comedian named Bert Kreischer. Not sure if he had a travel show years ago, but he's a funny guy. I also have a lozenge cough drop in my mouth just because hopefully I won't cough. Hopefully I won't smack too loud on the cough drop as I'm reading, but my throat is burning. But I think I'll make it through. All right, hopefully we had that good discussion about what happened yesterday. And today, we'll learn a lot of stuff. I don't want to say too much. But a little bit of Rowan. Of course, the relationship between Sawyer and Jules. Trey, minor part. All right, let's do it. Right after the yellow. Oh yeah, the big thing. Yeah, Charlie. Here we go. Well, Rowan says, since I have you both here, I'm going to need some help covering my shifts. You both owe me plenty. What's going on? Trey says in an outdoor voice. Okay, so probably raising his voice a little bit. I stare at Rowan. Rowan, do you have any scope of realization of what you are about to unleash upon all of us? They'll call the freaking cops, report you as a missing person. Trey pulls a car over on the side of the road. What is happening? He shouts, his eyes ablaze. I turn my attention to Trey. Rowan has a boyfriend in New York, and she's going to see him over spring break. Ooh, there should be a comma right there after New York. They forgot it. Trey whirls around, eyes bulging. What? Rowan's gaze settles somewhere to the left of and below Trey's jaw. She starts biting her lip. I'm going, she says weakly. You're 15, he says. Mom is going to blow a freaking gasket. Who is this loser? Rowan gets her courage back. He's not a loser. His name is Charlie. Charlie something Banks, I interject. The third, Rowan adds, which is news to me. His parents invited me. They paid for my ticket, but I already told them I'll pay them back when I get there. She adjusts her collar. We met at soccer camp. He has a live-in tutor, I offer. Not live-in, Rowan says. She's met his parents. Trey blinks, and then he shakes his head. You little creep, he mutters, checking his mirrors and pulling back onto the road. Why can't I ever find a Charlie something the third? I face forward. So you're okay with this? I ask him. Top of the next column, he gives a bitter laugh. Blank, he says. Why the hell not? He punches the gas a little harder than usual and pulls into the school parking lot. Why the hell not? He says again. He parks a few rows from Sawyer's car and looks over his shoulder at Rowan as he turns off the car and pulls out the keys. You're going to be the one who actually survives this family, aren't you? The only one. Rowan just stares at him, and then he's out, slamming the door, shoulders curved, head bowed to the wind. All right, two things we should probably talk about. What's Trey's emotions there? It's a little hard to tell. He seems possibly happy for her, but also a little mad. And then the other thing, I hope this doesn't happen to you. Luckily, it doesn't happen to me, but I think I've mentioned it. Some close friends of mine have parents who I would say, their mental state is hot and cold. Sometimes, like, it's not days, it's like years. Sometimes they have good years. Sometimes they have bad years. Sometimes they have to go away for a little while. So there's one friend I have, they're always like, like when they get to be my age, like 46. But this happened earlier, maybe like in their 30s. They were like, uh-oh, am I getting it? Like on TikTok, like everybody's talking about the cheese touch. So like, is the mental illness touch, going to get them? Luckily in my family, we're all pretty much normal, if there is a such thing as a normal. But if you do have family members who are maybe older than you or whatever, there might be always in the back of your head, like, uh-oh, is it happening to me? So it seems like, Trey says to Rowan, you're the one that's going to make it out of this family. Maybe Trey feels like he is going to have some mental illness. I mean, you got Jules with the whole vision thing. All right, so just wanna, and if anybody has any thoughts on that, I'll pause. But all right, back to the reading here. Another chapter, I think it was, right? Nope. At the bottom there. Yeah, right there. I thought it was going to be another chapter. No, we got a little bit here. We get out. What was that all about? She asks as Sawyer gets out of his car, sees me, and heads towards us. I shrug, but I think I know because I used to feel it too. Trey's jealous. I think maybe he wishes, top of the next column, he had something you have, I say. But I don't take the time to explain because Sawyer is standing on my shadow and his ropey lashes are about to lasso me in. Gag. That was bad. Yes, Jules, that was bad. There are warning, spoiler alert here, or whatever. There are a couple places in this chapter I'm like, it's like a line or two. You can read it, but it is bad. Bad. We might call Jules a hopeless romantic. Chapter 10. Rowan melts into the sea of students, and Sawyer is pulling me to the side of the school building. When, he says. What? When can I see you? I need to see you. After school, say yes. Say yes. Say yes. I begin, and the rest of the automatic sentence, have to work, drops away. His cheeks are flushed with the cold. Okay, I say. Okay? He sounds shocked. Yes, I say, grabbing some of Rowan's boldness before it dissipates. I'll join a group, a volunteer. What? Nothing. Alibi, just thinking out loud. Don't you have to work? I switched with Kate. Kate, cousin in college. Kate, with the funky blonde hair whose life I saved. Right. Excellent. Rowan will cover for me. Okay. I take a breath and decide specifically not to think about what my father will do to me when I don't come home. Trey will help. As we walk into school together, I start reading posted signs on the walls for the first time in my high school career. Pep club. No way. Too much Roxy and BFF Sarah. Psych club. No comment. All right, we could pause there for a second. Why is that funny to her? That could be very obvious, but I keep looking. And then I turn to see Sawyer watching me, that little smile on his lips. Do you play chess? I ask. Why? Is this a trick question to determine if I'm too awesome for you? No. I'm just looking for a club to join so I'd have an excuse to see you. I could tell my parents I'm in a chess club, but then I might have to, eventually, top of the next column, prove that I know how to play. He's still smiling at me. My brain turns to fuzz. Yes, he says, I play chess. We stop at my locker, and he says, in fact, I was thinking about starting an exclusive chess club for offspring of pizza proprietors. I grin. Oh, my dogs. I believe I qualify. We'll have a lot of meetings, he warns. I'll be there as often as I can. I ignore the nervous quake in my gut that taunts. Your parents will find out. His face is close to mine. Tonight's launch meeting is from 3 to 5:30. I'll have you back at the restaurant by then. Will that work? Okay. I nod, whisper, we'll get this vision thing figured out, Sawyer. I promise. The bell rings. That yellow part right there, you can read for yourself. All right, the next part here, right down there. Trey promises to tell mom that I joined a chessclub.com, he says wickedly, so I have to kick him, and that I'll be home by 5:30. And that I would have called her myself, but still don't have a cell phone. Not one that she knows of anyway. Top of the next column. I load up my backpack more slowly than usual, letting the halls clear around me. Sawyer saunters up to me, and we walk down the hallway together. Ever so casually, he takes my hand, intertwining his fingers with mine. And then my eyes get all misty. Stupid. I know, but you know what? I remember thinking there would never be a time when I'd hold a boy's hand in the hallway at school, much less the love of my life. much less the love of my life's, love of my life's hand. It's all a little emotional there for a second because here I am and it feels even better than it looks. I squeeze his hand and he squeezes back and looks sidelong at me. And I'm so in love. He opens the car door for me, which feels so incredibly awkward that I hurriedly ask him not to do that again, unless I'm like carrying a 6-foot sheet cake or something. And then we set out for somewhere. I'm not sure where. He takes my hand again and he puts it on the stick shift with his. When he pushes in the clutch, I change gears for him and we're flying out of town, away from Melrose Park, away from people who frown at us for stupid reasons. After a few minutes, Sawyer pulls into a community college parking lot, parks at the gymnasium. Top of the next column. Without a word, we get out, and he pulls me through the snow to the side of the building. There are a few cubby holes in the wall, and I can hear fans running. I catch a whiff of chlorine, feel a blast of humid air on my cheeks. Sawyer and I duck inside one of the indents, and suddenly it's warm. Pull fan, he says, facing me. My brother's told me about this trick. I stare at him. We're alone. At last. At last. All right, there were a couple pages there. I mean, not like a ton happens, but a little bit more than I'm comfortable with reading. So we're going to skip a couple pages. Let's just assume that they kissed for a little while, okay? I mean, nothing more than that, but it's just like 2 or 3 pages of very uncomfortable reading for me. So let's get back to chapter 11, where they actually talk about the vision, something I'm more interested in. He pulls out a folded wad of paper from his pants pocket and opens it. The late afternoon sun glows orange through the nearby branches as he looks at his notes. First of all, this sucks, he says. Making out was way more fun. Making out is my favorite, I say glumly. Right. He folds the paper with one hand, top of the next column, and puts his other on his forehead, rubbing his temples. Okay, so here's how it goes. I link my arm into his, scoot my butt closer. We're in a classroom. You asked me how I knew before, and I couldn't tell you back then, but now I know. In a couple of frames, as my view or whatever pans the room, there's a whiteboard on the wall and a few tables and overturned chairs. I always thought of my view as the camera angle. I say, you see what the camera sees, right? And the angle changes a few times. Mine did anyway. He nods. Yeah, it does. That's totally how it looks. He rests his hand on mine, absently traces my fingers. So the first scene, I guess, is from a back corner of the classroom. The camera does a fast pan of the room and lands on a person, a gunman. He's wearing dark wash jeans and a black fleece jacket, and he's got a floppy knit cap on his head. He turns towards me a fraction. Any questions so far? Yeah, I say, about 100. Was there a clock or a calendar anywhere? Not that I saw. Any writing on the whiteboard? Yeah, but I couldn't read it. Top of the next column. A lot? A few lines. Like math equations or sentences? Sentences, outline, form-ish. I rummage around in my coat pockets for a pen. I always used to keep a few handy for when I was doing deliveries. I find one in an interior pocket and pull it out. Sawyer hands me the notes, and I start jotting down things on the back of one page. Okay, so probably not a math class, right? Huh. I guess that's a reasonable assumption. Did the guy have any snow on his shoulders or hat? Next page here. I didn't notice. I don't think so. I start a second list on a different sheet of paper. Things for Sawyer to look for next time. Did you get any view of the windows? He squeezes his eyes shut, thinking, I think maybe I did, but I don't remember anything about them. The windows felt dark. I'll look again. I write that down and ask, how tall was the guy? Kind of short. How could you tell? He pauses. In relation to the tables, he seemed short, thin build. Top of the next column. I nod. Boots or shoes? His mouth parts and then closes again, and I write that one down for him to check on. It was dark, you said the other day. Darkish, anyway, because you could see the muzzle, whatever, fire thingy. Yeah, not totally dark, more like dimly lit. So it could be from the shades being drawn, like they were doing something with a projector, or maybe it was stormy outside. Maybe. I don't know. He sets his jaw. I don't know. Sorry. No, it's okay. You're asking great questions. It's just hard. I nod. After a minute, I ask, what about the next scene? He looks at his notes. Okay, so the angle changes. The camera, I mean. I think it's at the front of the room because the wall I can see. And this next scene doesn't have a whiteboard. And the tables are on the left instead of the right. I wait, is anybody sitting at the tables or are the chairs empty? Empty, disorderly. Some of the chairs are tipped over. Top of the next column. There are no people, just the shooter. I watch his face. He stares straight ahead. There are people. His eyes glaze. A shiver rolls down my back. Finally, I whisper, where are the people, Sawyer? They're in the back corner. They're standing in the back corner of the room? Not standing. His voice is wispy under the grumble of the fan. His eyelids droop shut and his face grows pained. They're on the floor and there's stuff everywhere. My stomach turns and I don't want to ask. Stuff? Top of the next column. He nods. I don't want to tell you. I can barely breathe. You mean blood? Yes, blood. More than blood? He takes in a sudden breath and blows it out through his nose. Yeah, guts and brains, I guess, and that's all. All right, good place for us to stop on a Friday. Yeah, nicely done. Good place. All right. Hopefully you had a fun time reading that. I know I did, getting more interested in what's happening with this whole vision thing. It does seem like there's been warning that this gunman, yeah, we can call him a gunman, right? Not a gun woman. Very, very few times it's a gun woman. It's mostly only guys that kill with guns, stuff like that. So we know that he's probably been in the building. It seems like a school now. We got a whiteboard and stuff. Been in the building for a little while and doing some damage. So hopefully they can stop this. See you later.